All right, hey everyone. So there's this new thing going on Facebook right now where every student, or most students who go to UC Berkeley are going to the UC Berkeley Facebook page and rating the school from 1 to 5. Like, you know how you can rate restaurants? Berkeley, you can also rate schools. So people are going to the page and rating schools. Apparently this is the new trend. And so that really prompted me to make this video. What makes UC Berkeley unique and why I personally loved UC Berkeley. And for anyone applying to college, for anyone who's thinking of coming to Berkeley, this is something you want to take into consideration, because if you mesh with these three unique things and you think they're a great fit for your personality, then yes, Berkeley is definitely the place for you. It's a great place. But if your personality doesn't mesh with this, or you don't see yourself particularly, there's different schools and each school is different in its own way. And I'm going to tell you right now, these three characteristics, I know people always say like every school is unique. But these three characteristics are really what make Berkeley unique, and I'm telling you that as a fact. I have students and friends from all around, and I can tell you right now that I have noticed these things at Berkeley that I haven't really seen at their institution. So let's go ahead and get straight into this. The first thing that I love about Berkeley is the diversity. And I'm not going to say other schools don't have diversity. Every school has diversity in its own way. But I think at Berkeley, the one thing that makes it different is you have 35,000 students. You're literally at the hub of diversity, When you can be diverse with 1,000 students, but 35,000 students is huge. So first of all, that diversity just in numbers is huge. Second of all, where does that diversity come from? Well, that diversity comes from the fact that people are passionate about a lot of things. And at Berkeley, the passion of these people speaks so loudly. Okay, and I'm going to tell you that right now because Berkeley was the birth of the free speech movement. And if you don't know what that is, Berkeley students take a lot of pride in it. You should look it up. But the Berkeley students care so much about what they're passionate about, their free speech and everyone's beliefs, that when you go to Berkeley, you really learn to accept everyone's opinions. I grew up in Cupertino. It's a predominantly Asian neighborhood, so I wasn't exposed to all of this. I got to Berkeley, and you start meeting people who, don't conform to this student student belief that I was under when I was in Cupertino. And you start seeing people who are so passionate about one thing, so passionate about other things, and they speak out for it, and they are so passionate about it that it kind of inspires you. And for me, after 4 years, this is something I definitely take away. Berkeley taught me to really respect everyone. Berkeley taught me to really embrace everyone because everyone has something unique to offer. And I don't think I would have gotten that if I had gone to any other school, because there's just so many differences at Berkeley. And at Berkeley, those differences are valued. Not only valued, they're passion. Everyone's passionate about differences, and everyone's passionate about specific things. And I think that's something that's very unique to Berkeley. So people come from all walks of life. You start seeing people who didn't even come from the United States. They're from international other countries, and you start seeing their experiences and how they ended up at Berkeley. There you'll meet people who are out of state. You'll meet people who are I've met students who are 25, 26, non-traditional college students. Amazing to see how everyone ends up at this institution and pursues their own path. And it's great. And it's really, really eye-opening. The second thing about Berkeley is the really big classes. And I think a lot of students will say this is a negative aspect. But I'm going to tell you right now, first of all, even if it is a negative aspect, it sets Berkeley apart, and that's what makes it unique. Berkeley has really, really big classes. The biggest class I had was over 500 students. The smallest class I had was 135 students. That just goes to show you, you will no longer have that you had, in those 30 student classes. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I personally thought this was a huge positive for me. All right. First of all, it teaches you to think for yourself. There are 500 other students in you want to understand the material, you have to take it upon yourself. Granted, when you're a freshman in college, that can be scary because you're like, what do I do? But as you go throughout your 4 years, you'll start seeing that you will realize what works for you and what doesn't. And when you start realizing that, you'll start seeing how to make sure you get it. So even though there's no one babying you around anymore, like professors don't care if you come to class or not. There are 500 other students they have to take care of. They don't care at all. But more important than that, you start saying, if I go to class, what do I have questions about? If I have questions, where do I have to go? If I don't get this concept, where do I get the help I need? Because the help is there, but you have to seek it out for yourself. And that's what makes Berkeley different. Because, in high school, the teacher would come up to you and you say, you failed this quiz, I'm concerned, maybe we should work together on it. But at Berkeley, you fail a quiz, no one cares. Okay, you should care, and Berkeley teaches you to take your own actions, take responsibility for your own actions. And I know that's kind of simple to say. You're like, my parents have been teaching me that since I was 5 or 6, but Berkeley really gets to the heart of it, because at Berkeley, if you don't think for yourself, it's very, very easy to get caught up in everything and kind of not know what's going on. And after 4 years, I can tell you right now, I know exactly how to study. I know what works for me, and I know what doesn't work for me. It pushed me out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to say it was easy to do. My first 2 years were a mess. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was confused, but it pushed me out of my comfort zone and made me really analyze, what do I have questions about? How am I going to fix this? How am I going to address what I don't know? There was no hand holding. So I had to take all that initiative, and I felt very discouraged initially. But after 4 years, I came out and I was like, I know how to think for myself. If I see a problem, I know how to approach it. I know how to come up with a solution, and I know how to reasonably manage all of that on my own. And believe it or not all students coming out of college will be that way. But Berkeley really, really fosters that, and I think any student would value it. And so, even though it might be challenging for anyone who's a freshman or sophomore at Berkeley right now adjusting to this, I think it's really giving you great life lessons. And the last aspect of the curriculum that's unique is the aspect of resilience. Berkeley's curriculum is hard, okay? There's 1,000 people in a class. They can't give a test that everyone is going to pass because they want to make sure you're getting it, all right? So every class, on almost every STEM class at Berkeley, has an average of a B- grade. And I'm the last person who learns for the sake of a grade. I don't really care about the grade, but that just goes to show you that it's difficult. And I will tell you, every student at Berkeley has failed at least once, all right? I've failed multiple times. I know a lot of my friends have failed multiple times. But you start seeing those failures teach you something. And failures can be tough. And to this very day, I don't really know how to deal with failures adequately. But Berkeley has definitely given me a leg up there. I failed so many times that I start realizing, what did I learn from this? Why did I fail? What can I do better next time? Analyzing all of that really makes you a stronger person going forward, and I think that was another big aspect of the curriculum that really instilled within me a personal aspect of development that I probably would not have gotten anywhere else. With that, let me go to my third and final point of what makes Berkeley unique. There are so many Berkeley-only things. So I guess this is kind of a really bad attribute of what makes Berkeley unique, because this is essentially just saying, here's unique. But I kind of clumped it all together. So, the first one was obviously the diversity. Second one was the curriculum, which is obviously the social aspect and the academic aspect. The two most important aspects of Berkeley, or any college, really. But then the third aspect is just everything else. And this is what I mean. So let me tell you, there's so many only at Berkeley things. Like almost every Berkeley student will tell you, oh, only at Berkeley would you get X, Y, and Z. So let me go down. The distinct culture. Berkeley has a culture. You might not believe it. Once you're a student there for 1 year, you'll realize that Berkeley has a culture that is unmatched by any other university. Every other university has its own culture, of course, but Berkeley's culture is just so unique, and it's so great. You walk onto campus and you start seeing people who are flowering for, I don't know, like really odd new startup products. You'll see people who are flyering for things they're passionate about. You'll see people handing out copies of their own books, their own newspapers, their own comedy shows. It's just great to see so many different things happening at one place. It's amazing. The second thing that's only at Berkeley is the unique food. I'm going to tell you this right now. Berkeley has unique restaurants. You won't find them anywhere else. You have Montague's gourmet sandwiches, you have Sliver, you have Cheese Board. Those are Berkeley-only restaurants, and Berkeley students love them. And people come from out of the area to come back to these things. People who go to Berkeley out of state will come back to Berkeley just for the food, because the food is literally exclusive to Berkeley. Top Dog, I think Top Dog's expanding now, but it's a Berkeley only thing. You have Artichokes, which is also a national brand, but it's one of the few places, at least in California, Berkeley has it. Berkeley has amazing food, and I have family members who will say, hey, can we come to Berkeley next week? And I'm like, yeah, of course, I can meet with you. And they're like, no, we don't want to meet with you. We want your recommendation on the restaurants. So it's great. The third aspect that's only at Berkeley is protests. We have protests for everything. Any decision on the university that gets made, there's a protest, because there's some group that's against it and some group that's for it. And those protests, you get tired of them, or maybe you're not so into them. I never joined a protest. But I think of the aspect of free speech and really standing up for what you believe in, that diversity aspect I referred to in the first part is reiterated here. because students will stand up for what they believe in. And that's something you have to respect. And at Berkeley, you really get a sense of that. Regardless of your belief, you have to respect where people are coming from and really know um, why they believe what they believe and respect it, even if you don't agree with it. The next one up, only at Berkeley will you have consistent Nobel Prize winners. Oh my God. So Berkeley is, obviously a great institution, but it's not known for being amazing at education. It's known for being amazing at research. We have tons of Nobel Prize winners. In fact, we have so many Nobel Prize winners that we have parkings on campus reserved only for Nobel Prize winners, aka you can only park there if you've won a Nobel Prize. So it's amazing to be being taught by professors like that and be taught by people who are literally at the top of their field. That is an only at Berkeley thing. And of course, other institutions have Nobel Prize winners, and you have to respect that as well. But, Berkeley just, um, it has a lot, all right? And that's something to be proud of. Knowing someone who makes the news. You're surrounded not only by great professors, but by great students. 35,000 great students to be exact. And of those 35,000, almost every single one of them will do something that's magnificent. I consistently see friends all the time end up on the news for their startup, friends that end up on, massive executive boards of their own companies. It's amazing to see the things people do only in college. They're only in college. I don't know if you guys know Caviar. It's the to-go delivery service. And my friend dropped out of Berkeley, and he was a co-founder of Caviar. So it's crazy to think that you knew someone who ended up being part of this insanely large business. It's crazy. So that kind of goes into my next point. Just consistently realizing how amazing the people around you are. They're great. The insane research in academics and the diverse classes. That's the last part. That's only at Berkeley. You have diverse classes. There's these things at Berkeley called decals, where students can teach their own classes. And so, you'll have students teaching classes on Breaking Bad, which is the TV show. You'll have people teaching classes on Pokemon, Digimon, House of Cards, underwater basket weaving. It's insane, So those are the three main reasons I love Berkeley. They're just so unique. And I think having got my education from there, I cannot be more thankful. And if you're thinking of going to Berkeley, I highly recommend you check out some of these things. All right, and with that, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions. And look at this. Look at how fitting this is. That's my diploma right there. It just came in a couple of weeks ago, so it's a great place. Let me know if you have questions. I'd love to answer them. And go Bears!